everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Taylor here, and today I have another wardrobe remix. Today I'm going to be showing you how I took my husband's old dress shirt and turned it into a very trendy off the shoulder bell sleeve, flutter sleeve, embroidered top. So if you want to see how I remix this item from my husband's wardrobe, then stay tuned. Alright guys, so here is this blue Stacey Adams men's button-down shirt that actually was my husband's that he gave to me that was too small. So I'm going to be remixing it and turn it into a top that's going to be kind of more on trend. I'm going to be doing first off the shoulders, and then I got these patches, embroidery patches that came in the mail the other day, actually last week, that I got from Hong Kong, and they are beautiful. But they are these beautiful embroidered flower patches. Gonna focus. There we go. That you would have seen on my Instagram, and it's just so beautiful. So here's the sketch I did of what I wanted the shirt to look like. I was thinking off the shoulders, put on some rose patches or rose appliques, doing some bell sleeves, cropping the shirt and curving the hem. And then I kind of mapped out some different things that I could do to the shirt, and then just some sketches of, like, you know, cutting it off the shoulder and having the bell sleeves. I would say that my plans did change as I was going along, just because certain things weren't working out, and I also ran out of material, so I didn't have enough material to make the bells. So it kind of looks more like this, and then having the appliques on the front, and then I even added more things off of this sketch right here as well. So first thing I did was remove the pocket from the very front of the shirt. I'm actually going to be turning the front to the back so that the buttons are going to be in the back. So next I'm just going to be removing the collar of the shirt as well as the cuff on the sleeve, and then I'm just going to take a shirt that I like the fit of, and I'm going to be using that as a template. Just make sure that you factor in enough for seam allowance. I kind of messed up a little bit because the shirt that I used as a guide had a little more stress than the fabric itself that I was cutting the shirt out of. So just make sure that you have enough so that it's not going to be too small on you. Then I just went back in and cleaned up some of the edges around the sleeves, and then I'm going to be cutting this into an off the shoulder top, so that kind of top part where the collar would be, I'm going to be cutting it straight across. And then I'm just going to be taking the sleeves and I'm going to be splitting it open and making it one flat piece, because this is going to be my So you're going to be sewing down the two side seams, and then you're also going to be turning down the top about 1.5 inches to 2 inches to make your casing for your elastic. And then those pieces of the sleeves that you had before, my husband, you're going to be stitching those all together to have two long strips that you're going to be using for your bell sleeves. So now I'm just going to be sewing down the sides of the shirt, starting at the sleeve and going all the way down to the hem of the shirt. Next, moving on to the bell sleeves, you're just going to be stitching each of the two pieces together down that center seam, and then once you have that, I just lengthened my stitch to the longest stitch length and left a tail so that I did a basting stitch. And then you're just going to gently pull on one side of the thread so that you can start gathering it up. It's going to give it a nice little ruffled bell effect. And then once you have it gathered enough to the size that will fit your sleeve, you're just going to be stitching up that 2 ends together. So you're just going to be taking it and stitching the 2 ends together. Tight on my arm, so as you can see, I added a whole other like 2-inch panel I'm done sewing it, it'll have like an extra panel there. I don't think I remember to cut the seam allowance. Add that in when I was cutting out the shirt, pattern shirt, because the pattern shirt was stretched and this is not stretched. So keep that in mind if you're going to be tracing out a shirt, that you make sure you have the seam allowance, and if the shirt has more stretch and it fits you because it stretches, that you want to add some more inches around it so that you can allow for the new fabric.
And then I'm just going to stitch up that extra panel on each of the side seams of the sleeve.
Okay, so right now I'm in my bathroom and I have a few of the elements kind of pinned onto the shirt to see which way I kind of like it best. So I have the ruffle sleeve pinned on, and I like how that looks, so I added the extra panel there, as you can see, so now I have more room in my arms so you aren't squeezing it like sausages. I had originally wanted to, I'm gonna, because this is the only place that has a full length mirror. Let me have to turn it around. I originally wanted the patch to go on the sleeve, something like this, because I've seen a lot of the really cool shoulder details on the Pinterest on these type of shirts, like that. But I don't want it to. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. The only problem is I can't put it up too high because I have to still turn this down and add the elastic. So then I'm gonna have to be having the leaves come all the way onto the ruffle, and then they're not that long, and I don't want to end up getting off. So I was thinking of doing it like that, but then that looks too weird. I feel like it's stuck in my armpit area too much. So I have this pin right here. So once I turn this down and add the elastic to the side, it's gonna have it up more. So I'm thinking something like that. Maybe more angled. I think that give it more interest, like leaves and stuff, versus just straight up like that. What do you guys think? Which one will I choose to do?
So like I mentioned, I'm just pinning down my casing for the elastic, and I'm going through the button placket as well, and I'm just going to be sewing that all down. So here I'm just going to be sewing on the ruffle to the sleeve. I just put it onto the sleeve wrong side to the right side because it's going to be turning it down. And so there it is, all sewn.
Okay, so it actually is the next day and I'm still not finished. I had to stop. It was around 3 in the morning and I kept making mistakes, so I have come back to it. And so the problem was I didn't have the elastic come all the way over. It should start from your front shoulder, kind of this part, and wrap around to the back part. I just had it on the very side, which wasn't giving enough tension. And I was thinking I just needed to go all the way around, and then I wasn't sure, I didn't have enough elastic, and then the elastic was short, or the elastic was too wide or too thin. So this is what I have so far. We have our sleeves in, yes. We have our casing in, yes, except for the curved part. I was going to do a blind hem. I have to take out the old elastic. Can't do that without the elastic, so I went to my stash and I got this skirt that I had made that didn't fit right. That's kind of a failed project that needed to be redone anyway, so I'm going to steal the elastic out of here and hope to goodness that it's enough to fit all the way around. If not, I'll cut it in half and do that side. I took the elastic out of the waist of the skirt that was in my sewing pile. That was, you know, a messed up skirt that I tried to make and it didn't come out right. So I took that elastic, and surprisingly enough, I don't even need to to resize it because it fits me pretty well. It's not too tight, I don't think, but it's not like I can add any elastic anyways, and I don't need to take anything off. and it still has a thread because I just seam ripped everything, and it might look a little weird, but basically this is going to be where it's gonna lay. So yeah, I just need to unstitch this so that it's one long piece instead of a loop, and then I can fish it through the casing that I already have sewn, and then I'll do a blind hem on the side curved parts that I can't do with the machine because it's not going to lay flat. So yeah, I'm just going to undo this, put a safety pin, feed it through the casing, and then stitch it down.
So I'm just feeding the elastic through the casing. I just added a safety pin to the
All I
end.
have to do is basically just hem it, and I have the buttons down the back, and I have the little ruffle on the sleeves. I love how it looks finally.
So I'm just trying on the shirt and playing around with the placement of the rose patches. As you can see, I have the buttons down the back, which I really like. So I'm just playing around with where I want them to be on the shirt and pinning them in place. Once you have the placement of the rose patches where you want them, then I'm just measuring out from the center point, the center front of the shirt, just to make sure that they're going to be even. So right here I'm just marking the center front of the top, and then I'm just going to be measuring on either side so that they have a mirrored effect and they are symmetrical on either side and that they match up. So now I'm using the Aleene's OK to Wash It glue. It's a fabric glue and it's good for binding fabric together. After 48 hours, once it dries, you can wash it, and this stuff works really well. So just lifting up, starting at the bottom, lifting up each piece and gluing it down, and just make sure you have something in between both layers of the shirt so that you don't glue the shirt together. So here's what it looks like once it's all dry. I think it came out really well, and I love the way it looks, and you can totally be done here. But once I tried the shirt back on, it kind of was a little bit short, so I wanted to add an extra panel of fabric at the very bottom. I had this leftover fabric from a previous project, so I'm just going to measure out how long I want that extra panel to be, and then once I have that measurement, I'm just going to put it on the fabric and measure out a little bit extra from the length of it, and then I'm going to be also putting on a snap to the very top of the button back so that the top part where the elastic is going to be more fastened and closed, and I'm just going to hand stitch that down. And then I'm just saying that you can just zigzag around the ends of the sleeve so that it doesn't fray. You could have actually hemmed it before you gathered it too, but I ended up not doing that. So now I'm just cutting out my fabric with a straight edge ruler and my rotary cutter. Then I'm going to be taking it to my sewing machine, and I'm going to be turning it under twice and doing a hem on one side, and then I'm going to be doing a long gathered stitch on the other side. So there's going to be hem on one side, and then I'm just going to be doing a basting stitch. So I just set my machine to the longest stitch length, same as I did for the sleeves, and I'm just going to be gently pulling on the fabric to gather it up to make it long enough to fit onto the bottom of the shirt. Last thing I'm doing is just hand stitching on that snap to the very back, and then that's it, you're done. So how did it turn out? I think it came out really great. It looks so trendy, exactly what I've been seeing online and all fashion bloggers. I did mess up with a little bit on the back part. I sewed it the wrong way, but I'll go back and fix it. I just wanted to film it for you guys. So if you like this wardrobe remix, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.